Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is staying safe, staying well, and staying indoors in this crazy world we're living in at the moment. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Money in the Bank. Of course, Money in the Bank is rapidly approaching on Sunday, May the 10th. It isn't going to be live, but it is going to be streaming on the WWE network. Now, prior to Friday's announcement, we had heard that Money in the Bank wasn't going to be taking place, obviously, originally where it was scheduled. I believe it was meant to take place in Baltimore, Maryland, originally. But many people assumed that it would take place from the empty WWE Performance Center arena, similarly to how WrestleMania, of course, took place there, emanated from the empty arena in the Performance Center. But it's not going to be the case. In fact, Money in the Bank this year will take place from the WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Yes, Titan Tower. We are going to have a match or a pay-per-view at Titan Tower. It's going to be taped there. I believe they've already started taping footage for it, and they will continue taping footage over the next few weeks. There's been rumours as well that we're going to have some cinematic wrestling matches there as well. In terms of my opinion on that, look, I really enjoyed the Boneyard match at WrestleMania. I really enjoyed the Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. In my opinion, I preferred the Boneyard match. That's just me though. A lot of people preferred the Firefly Funhouse match. I thought they were both great. I thought they were completely different to anything we're used to seeing. And I'm a big fan of the cinematic wrestling style anyway. I know some people it's not for them. But coming out of WrestleMania, they were the things that people were talking about, and I really enjoyed them. Now, in terms of the demand for cinematic wrestling after WrestleMania, of course it's high, and of course it was WWE adjusting to the parameters that they have at the moment in terms of how they can put together matches. But I was definitely on the side of the argument that yes, I think there should be more cinematic wrestling matches. I don't think it's something they should be doing every month at the moment whilst WWE is performing in front of no fans. I think what made the matches so great at WrestleMania is that they were so different and so unique to what we're used to seeing and what we're used to seeing, especially in WWE historically. I just don't think that it's something that they should be doing month to month. Now, of course, the cinematic wrestling match at Money in the Bank, obviously we don't know what they are. Maybe that will be the Money in the Bank matches themselves. We'll go into that in a second. I just think that the concept of it is something that is very prone to getting old very quickly, and the concern for me would be that if you're going to be doing it every month on pay-per-view, it's going to get old very quickly, it's going to lose its shine, and then it just, I don't know, it just becomes another TV show, doesn't it, at that point? And I'm not sure that's necessarily what the fans want to see. I think fans like to see things that are unique, and fans like to see stuff that is different, and the cinematic wrestling matches certainly were that. But I just don't know if it would work every single month. In fact, I know it wouldn't work every single month. It's a great concept when used sporadically, and it's a great concept when it's used infrequently. It's a concept that will get very old very quickly if it's used every month. So we'll have to see with that one. But in terms of the Money in the Bank matches at WrestleMania, they're using the tagline to climb the corporate ladder, of course, with Money in the Bank taking place at WWE's headquarters. So the Money in the Bank ladder matches, both the female and the male participants, will have an even more unique challenge than regular Money in the Bank matches. Now, the match will begin. Now, these are the rules that have been explained so far on WWE television and on WWE.com. The match begins on the ground floor of WWE headquarters, but the briefcases containing contracts for a championship match anytime, any place will be hanging all the way up on the roof of the corporate tower. Now, I don't know how many stories the WWE headquarters is, but it's a very big building. It's a very big building. And in terms of the concept of climbing the corporate ladder, I like it. It's something different. Of course, we wouldn't be getting this if this was, if the world was normal at the moment, but it isn't. And look, it's certainly unique. And with the reports that we are going to be seeing more cinematic style wrestling matches, or there are going to be cinematic style wrestling matches taped for Money in the Bank, I think it makes sense that this would be the Money in the Bank matches would be the matches to be presented in a cinematic style. I mean, you think about it. I don't know how many floors that WWE headquarters is, but if you think about it from a production point of view, and to be honest, just from a logic point of view, if you start on the ground floor and say WWE headquarters is, I don't know, 25, 50 floors, just the time alone of getting from bottom to top is going to be quite time consuming anyway. Obviously they'll be going up in lifts, and it's going to be a brawl type match, isn't it? Obviously they're not going to be using ladders on the bottom floor, I would assume. I don't know. I don't really know how this is going to work. But it would make sense in terms of that climb going from the bottom floor to the top floor. There's a lot of opportunity to do creative cuts there in post-production, isn't there? So I think that match is going to be the match, or the matches, excuse me, that will be presented in a cinematic format. And like I said previously, I'm interested to see how they do it. Obviously, it's unique. It's something we haven't seen before, which is a lot in WWE. They get criticised, rightly so, quite a lot of the time for just it's repeat wrestling. It's what you see at the pay-per-view, you see on Monday, you see on Friday, you see on Wednesday, whatever. So it's something different, and it's something I'm interested. I'm certainly interested in seeing something different. I wouldn't want to be on the top of that building doing a wrestling match. Talk about, I mean, I'm a bit scared of heights. So can you imagine doing that match on the top of this massive skyscraper? That would be absolutely terrifying, wouldn't it? But we've seen a few images on social media and certain other websites of a ring being set up on the top of the building. That's not unique to this, actually. WWE previously has done quite a few production shots on the top of Titan Tower. I think the most famous one is the old school Raw intro from mid-90s, sort of 95 to sort of 97-ish, when it was the old intro for Monday Night Raw, wasn't it? And they had the wrestling ring on the top of the building. That building in question was Titan Tower, and you had the likes of Bret Hart, Diesel, 123 Kid, Razor Ramon, etc., all fighting in the ring. And that production shot was actually done on the top of Titan Tower. So they've done it before. So they're doing a bit of a throwback here, a bit of a curveball. As far as I can recall, I don't think they've ever done full-on matches on the top of Titan Tower. I would be interested I would assume then, this is just off the top of my head here, but I would assume then that if they're going to have both the Money in the Bank ladder matches take place from bottom to top, then also you're going to have the remaining matches on the card compete in that ring. And again, it'll be interesting to see what the atmosphere is like. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty damn windy on the top of that building as well. So it'd be interesting to see how the wrestlers pull that off. I think, but I think the setting's interesting. Yeah, I think the setting is really interesting. Some of my favourite shows, throwing back to a bit of a tangent, it's a bit of a tangent here, but some of my favourite shows in WCW were when they would have shows in a different setting, in a different environment. I think of, was it Road Wild and those spring break shows, and even with AEW earlier this year when they had the shows on the Jericho Cruise, I thought they were fantastic just because the backdrop is so different and the setting is so different that it's different television. It's something different that we're not used to seeing. And when, as a wrestling fan, you do get used to, well, not at the moment. I would say we were used to having the arena environment, and sometimes that could be a bit stale. Lord knows we'd want to go back to the arena environment with an arena full of fans at the moment. But you understand my point, that aesthetic is something we've grown accustomed to and something that we're very used to. So to have wrestling matches and to have a presentation that has a different backdrop is just very refreshing, and it keeps your eyes firmly glued on the product that you're watching, even when you go back to just simple things like those ECW shows from the Hammerstein Ballroom, because the setting was so different. It was just so interesting to watch. So I think that's something that definitely lends itself to this Money in the Bank pay-per-view being a Titan Tower. That aesthetic and that picture of having the ring on the top of the building and whatever backdrop will be is certainly going to be interesting. And then in terms of the ladder matches themselves, look, I think that would be the matches that are going to be presented in a cinematic fashion. So it'd be interesting to see how they cut that. It'd be interesting to see if we have commentators overdubbing it. If it's presented cinematically, I don't think they will. I think it'll be similar to the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match, where there's no commentary on it. It's more of a musical score on the background of it, which again will be interesting. And I think something that was really refreshing from the Boneyard match, especially, was hearing the trash talk of these cinematic wrestling matches. So it'd be interesting to see that. And it'd be interesting to see just the creativity of how they present these ladder matches. Are they going to have ladder matches in the lobby of WWE HQ? Are they going to destroy them stuff? I'm sure they will. There's a lot of furloughed staff, isn't there? So I'm sure there'll be room for offices that are now empty for them to use. I think it's interesting, and I think, look, the show could have just been easily have been presented from the WWE Performance Center in the empty arena. Well, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. It's what's WWE is doing at the moment, isn't it, in terms of presenting their show, since their essential business brother, which is a completely different subject that we don't need to go into right now because I don't want to get angry. But in terms of, they could have presented it there like they did WrestleMania. People would have complained it's not the same, because it isn't. It isn't the same as having a sold out arena full of chanting fans. Fans make pro wrestling so great. But in terms of the presentation, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But they're trying something different. They're trying to use all the resources that they have available to them, and I do commend WWE for that, for trying something different and trying something unique. It certainly will be that. I think it, just like this was the most unique WrestleMania in history, not the best, but the most unique. I think this will be the most unique Money in the Bank pay-per-view and the most unique Money in the Bank matches we've certainly had in WWE history, and it's something that people will be talking about. In terms of the winners, at the time of recording, we don't know the full entrance into the matches, so we'll have to wait and see with that one. But it's interesting. It is interesting, and I do like the idea of having the corporate ladder for WWE superstars to climb. It's something different, and it's something unique, and it's something that we'll be talking about for quite some time. Like I said, I'm just fascinated in how they're going to present these matches. Furthermore, as well, you have to realize that the good thing with the cinematic wrestling matches at WrestleMania, with the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse matches, is that they were completely different matches, presented not only in totally different environments, but totally different characters. And if anything, it was really difficult, if anything, to compare them because they were so different from each other. The Bray Wyatt John Cena match almost wasn't even really a match because there was hardly any offense really in that. There was no referee counting the three. Whereas the Boneyard match was more of a match. Obviously, you didn't need a referee or anything like that because it was a glorified buried alive match, but it was more of a match there. These the Money in the Bank ladder matches are legitimate matches. You do need a referee there to ring the bell. So again, interested how they do that one, and just interested into how they present this, because if you're thinking about the rules, you start on the ground floor and you work your way to the top floor, climb the ladder to retrieve the briefcase. From the bottom to once you get to the roof, it's just a race, isn't it? It's a race. And I know you could say, well, every ladder match itself is a race. Why wouldn't you just go straight and climb the ladder anyway? I guess it's a similar situation here. Why wouldn't you just rush to the top floor anyway? Or is it about incapacitating your opponent to the point where they can't chase you? Or is it going to be a race to get to the top anyway? So there's a lot of logical thinking that's going to have to go into this one, because I am totally sure there is going to be a lot of moments and spots in these matches whereby you go, I don't understand the logic there. That logic doesn't make sense. But again, this is pro wrestling, and most importantly, this is WWE. Logic is thrown out the window more times than I'd like to mention. And also, these matches are so unique, these ladder matches, that they're also going to have to find a way to present the male and female Money in the Bank ladder matches in that they're not exactly the same. They've got to be distinguishable from each other, which is difficult when you have the same kind of match on a show, a same type of gimmick match on the show, and a same type of cinematic gimmick match on the show. There's a lot of room to see similar stuff here. So they've got to be careful in how they present it. They've got to be careful in how they execute it. But there's a lot of room for something unique here, and there's a lot of room for something creative, and there's a lot of room for something special. I really do think that. I'm really fascinated in these matches and how they play out. Do I think they'll ever do it again? I mean, look, who knows? Who knows at this point? Who knows how long the world is going to stay the way it is at the moment? We just don't know. If it leads to more creativity in terms of matches or gimmicks that they're going to come up with, then that's cool, and that is different. I must say that I can't lie to you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Money in the Bank. Not necessarily because of the other matches, but because of this unique spin on the ladder matches that we are going to see. I think it's unique and I think it's different. And my biggest thing with WWE is that a lot of the time it's just, we've seen it before, it's the same, and this is different, and you can't complain for different. So I'm interested, but it's obviously just not about my opinion, it's about your opinion on this channel as well. What do you think of the corporate Money in the Bank stipulation of superstars starting on the ground floor and then making their way to the top floor to climb the ladder to retrieve the briefcase for a world championship match up to 1 year? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think of the concept? Who do you think is going to win? Are you interested in watching Money in the Bank? Will you be watching Money in the Bank at all? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner in the video now. You can also click the subscribe button on our channel, or if you wait a few more seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, and I'll speak with you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.